I'm Melis, if you haven't met me yet, and I'm a junior 11th grader at Robert College, Istanbul. I've been working at Good for Trust for 3 years now, and I'm also a coordinator at the Social Entrepreneurship, Innovation, and Creativity Office at our school. Yeah, and I think I would get upset if you were not to fill this in. Please.
How can you say no?
Okay. Maybe after the panels we might try with Derya, so please fill it in. Is everyone good to go? We have a video from yesterday and how yesterday went. So while you're filling this in, I think we can take a couple of minutes to watch it.
Yeah, I saw it on social.
Could everyone spot themselves? Not for the second time. Now you most probably met them, but I still want to introduce them to you. We first have Merve as our moderator. Merve is the director of Yekpare, and I've known her for 6 months, and I think she's an awesome person. Then we have Amanda. Amanda is from Good Market, and Erinch is from Doughnut Economics Action Lab. And Merve mentioned Merve and I were talking about this panel yesterday, which is People and Planet First Verification, and I feel like this is such a nice idea to have. And also, I'm really glad to host such a panel in the first International Prosumer Economy Conference, because I think this is the first in Turkey as well. It is the first time that this idea is being introduced in Turkey, so I hope you have a great panel, and I think we'll have a few minutes at the end to have your questions. Thank you.
Thanks, Melis, for your nice words. She always called me Merve abla.
Abla is not because like you're way older than me, but because Abla is an elder sister.
This is Merve from Yekpare, and we are an alliance for Turkish social enterprises. And it's such a great pleasure for us actually to host Erinch and Amanda in here. And our session is focused on the People and Planet First verification. And it will be like a soft launch for Turkish community. Actually, the verification stewarded by Social Enterprise World Forum. And the people who didn't heard Social Enterprise World Forum before, it's actually a global network strengthening the social enterprise movement globally. And they're organizing several conferences and forums for policy and youth and for other intermediary organizations. And when I heard the verification process, and it's actually really long. In 2018, the World Forum started to collect information for social enterprise characteristics and definitions from all around the world. And after that, they started to work about standards. And in the last 2 years, they were making some pilots in different parts of the world, and they actually improved the system. And together with all networks, stewarded means in Turkish. Türkçe aslında genel sekreteryası Social Enterprise World Forum tarafından yapılan, ancak tüm networkler tarafından aslında yürütülen böyle özerk bir sistem kurdular. And I'm so happy that Yekpare is also now the official partner for Turkish community. And today we will briefly introduce you the verification standards and identity. But yesterday we will talk with Erinch, Sahan, and Amanda, and we decide that we really made this session for you as simple as possible. And there will be next webinars and meetings for steps and maybe for your other questions. So please check our website and social media for next meetings for the verification. And if you need any help for the steps, you can always reach out to us. And today we will simply talk with Erinch and Amanda to 3 main topics, 2 reasons why there is reasons for a global verification, and the design principles behind the verification, which are really important, and the standards. And at the behind, you actually see the standards. There are 5 common standards that we solve this verification and all the global social enterprise movement. And these are purpose, operations, revenue, use of surplus, and structure. And Amanda and Erinch, maybe we can start to talk with the design principles, because I know that you care so much about the price and the value and the structure. So could you please give us some insights about the design principles?
Do you want to start on design principles of the standards, or do you want me to start with the good market setup?
Maybe you can.
Okay, I'll do that part first.
Perfect.
Okay. So my day work is with my day and night work is with Good Market, which is software. It's a digital commons. Can you say what a commons is in?
Müşterekler.
Yeah. So, and it means that
Merve taught me yesterday.
it means that it's software that's shared by all of us. It's to make our movement more visible. It's to make it easier to find and connect with each other. And I'll explain in just a second how this fits in. But the idea with Good Market is that it's got a free primary curation. It has a free first step. There's an online form. And there's, if you go through this online form, you can have a profile on the site. It's free, it doesn't cost anything. And then there's networks that use the site, and they often have higher standards. So for example, World Fair Trade Organization, Leda's giving a talk in the other room. If you want to be part of their network, you have to have the fair trade guarantee, right? So there's all these different networks using the site. There's the minimum level, and then there's plus. You know, the networks have different higher level. And because it's a commons, because it's a shared resource, anytime one network invests in software, it benefits everybody. All the other networks and enterprises benefit. So what happened is we had a network of organic farmers, and they were already using the software. They were using the free first step. And then they would go to the farm and they would do a visit, and they asked, we want to make a system so we can keep that information on the same place. So it's easy for farmers. They just go one place. And we're set up to have different languages and all that. They said, that way it's easy, local language, one place. They do the first step, and they can do the next step. So we had worked with them to build this infrastructure. So then when Social Enterprise World Forum and all the networks said, hey, we have this idea, we want to do a global verification, we already had the software for it. And that's what makes it possible to keep the cost really low. Normally, if you're doing a certification or a verification, it can be really useful, but it also can be kind of expensive, right? So with this, what's nice is that the first step is free. And even if you're not ready, if you don't meet these 5, you can still do the first step. No problem. Everyone can be part of the Yakpari network page. You can still do the first step. But then if you want to go for the verification and meet these 5 standards, there's a second step. You have to answer 5 questions, and you have to give your governing documents, financial documents, and things like that. And it's set up so the networks can help review everything on the site, and it keeps the cost really low. And what's also nice is we're able to have it in different languages. So that's the background on kind of why the good market thing is the first step and why it's structured in this way. The idea is to make it inclusive, to work in different cultures, different languages, and to keep it very affordable so that it's accessible to everybody. So that's the background on that. And maybe Erinch can give the background on the standards.
Sure. And the reason that Amanda and I are here, we're both board members of the Social Enterprise World Forum, which has generated and convenes and coordinated this process of a network of networks that are coming together to create some sort of a verification of social enterprises. So, I mean, a few things come to mind to highlight. Firstly, if we look at the bigger picture, there are so many different parts of the movement for the social economy, social and solidarity economy. There's a cooperatives movement, there's an emerging sort of steward ownership movement, there's employee ownership, there's all these different models, right? And I think what they have in common is that they are non-extractive businesses. And you'll hear from Melanie later, who'll talk about this from the post-growth entrepreneurship perspective. But I love that terminology because in being non-extractive, they have a different kind of relationship with finance. They are not there to serve finance. If people saw my talk yesterday, I talked about life, all life, the natural world, social constructs being in service to finance. And there's just these interesting examples of businesses around the world who are demonstrating, no, we can have a business where finance is in service to life and the business is in service to life. And I think it's become quite difficult sometimes to distinguish, to identify these kinds of enterprises, partly because of how broad and diverse they are, partly because there's also a lot of greenwashing. You know, big companies are talking about we're regenerative and we also look after people and planets and we do everything nice for everything, you know, and it's becoming very difficult, particularly for consumers, but also for everyone else as citizens to distinguish them. So I think one of the key principles I observed, this is not official Social Enterprise World Forum language, but this is me as Erinch, I observed is that there was an opportunity to create a simple system that allows us to distinguish this very broad set of businesses, social enterprises, cooperatives, steward-owned enterprises, etc., all of them from the mainstream businesses by having a very simple set of questions. And these 5 questions, or 5 standards, sorry, behind me are the spine of this. It's 5 because it keeps it simple. It's also 5, which means it doesn't cover everything. It doesn't cover everything you do in your operations. You could have elements of this and still have so many other questions about how does this business operate and where does it source from and how does it pay its farmers or its workers or how does it deal with tax issues? Like you could come up with so many ecological issues as well. So it's not comprehensive about the entirety of the business, but it allows us to separate businesses on a couple of key questions. And if I sort of draw your attention particularly to the last 2, number 4 and number 5. Again, if you saw my talk on donut economics and we talked about enterprise design, these 2 are so critical. So number 4 is use of surplus. Reinvest the majority of any surplus towards its purpose. Now, there is not a venture capital fund in the world that's going to allow that to happen. in their investment. There isn't a company on the share market that's going to allow that to happen. There isn't a profit maximizing company that's going to allow you to go, oh, majority of the profits will go to the social purpose. So immediately it allows you to kind of scare off the very extractive financiers and investors and businesses that are there to build partnerships with that kind of finance. The fifth standard as well chooses legal structures and financing that protect and lock in purpose long term. Now, this can happen in very, very diverse ways. And there's several, this is a point system, by the way. So you get 0 points if you don't do this at all. You get 1 point if you've taken a step towards it. You get 2 points, 3 points, etc. So you sort of have a constant improvement opportunity through it as well. But again, through this, you're beginning to redefine the relationship with finance. And this allows, I think, a very important distinction to happen. So that's where I saw the need. This is why I became quite excited about this opportunity. And also the term people and planet first. Merve and I were talking yesterday and this morning going, how do we say this in Turkish? What is the best way of saying in Turkish? And we thought insan ve gezegen için, yani insan ve gezegen önceliği olan işletmeler. Businesses that are really putting people and planet first. Not businesses that are considering people and planet, not businesses that are doing really good impacts measurements and reporting on people and planet, not businesses that in some places sometimes find that there is a business
CSR.
case to do people and planet. So as a result, there became an opportunity to communicate, identify, and distinguish businesses that look like this, and it's got a very strong consumer-facing opportunity as well around it. I'll hand back to you, Merve.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm just thinking that it's a good opportunity for Turkish social enterprise community in different ways. But one is that is actually most of the time social enterprises, founders or members can feel lonely, and it gives us actually a global community opportunity as well. Mm-hmm. Most of the time, seeing other good examples from different parts of the world can strengthen our work as well. So one thing is that, and the other thing Erinch mentioned that when you click these standards in the application form, you will see that there is 5 different ranking, and it gives actually us an opportunity to improve our work and our legal documents, our governance methods, and our public documents as well. I think it will create a learning opportunity for social enterprises, intermediaries, and us as well. And the other thing is,
I think Melis is gonna.
Okay. I know that there are some finance people, intermediaries, researchers as well, and maybe you can think that how we also join this movement as well. There is a supporter badge, as you can see in the right side, and if you want to be the part of the movement, there are some options, and like pro bono and discounted services like creating special opportunities or purchases from social enterprises, and especially with social procurement opportunities. And you can also support our ecosystem building activities. And in this case, I will ask Amanda that what can be your suggestions for Turkish community to create this movement?
Yeah. So we have a few already in Turkey that have the verified, that are already, so soft launch, there are already quite a few that are starting to come up. But what I'm seeing in other countries, which has been really exciting, is especially in countries where it's very diverse, right? So there's some places like in the UK where people are using the word, they're using one word, there's kind of a sense already of a community. It's much more clear. But most countries, that's not the situation. You have people who are part of, say, impact hubs, and they think they're an impact venture. Or you have cooperatives, or you're a B Corp. There's all these different ways that you might be identifying. So what I'm noticing in other countries is that this has been a way for us to be seen as a bigger movement. It's something that we can kind of come to. You keep your same identity, no problem, right? You can still be a B Corp that puts people and planet first, or an impact business that puts people and planet first. But it's a way that we can kind of show how big we are as a movement. So that I've seen in other countries, there's a lot of excitement around. And then the other side of that is because it's more visible, it makes it easier to open up new opportunities for these types of businesses, the businesses that put people and planet first. And that includes, for example, thinking about finance that actually suits the needs of non-extractive businesses, which is important, right? Erinch mentioned we're going to scare off the venture capital. Well, we need other options, right? Some businesses might be able to start fully from revenue, but others might need some kind of working capital to get started. So one is we're visible. We can start looking for other forms of finance that are better suited to us. I think you have banks that are trying to help figure this out, right? The other is about purchasing. It's about being able to access new opportunities. Globally, there's a big list of other groups that are giving special benefits, right? So we have trust law, for example, is if you have the verification, you can access free legal services, including here in Turkey. They're working on getting more and more of those, where you can get discounts on software, and you can, right? So we're trying to do something. If we're more visible together, we can start shifting things in that direction.
Can I add something? What Amanda said, I'm going to sort of repeat a part of it in Turkish, if that's all right as well, because. Perfect. Yani biraz Türkçe devam etmek istiyorum. Mesela şu anda gösterdiğimiz slayda People and Planet First olmayan ama onu desteklemek isteyen organizasyonların yapabileceği şeyler bunlar. Ve bunlar gerçekten de dünyanın farklı yerinde gördük ki yani genel büyük şirketler arasında olsun, yatırımcılar arasında olsun, filantropik olarak yardım etmek isteyen organizasyonlar arasında olsun, bu tür işletmeleri desteklemek isteyen organizasyonlar var ve onlar genel yüksek sayıda organizasyon olsun istiyorlar. Yani sosyal işletmeleri desteklemeleri için gerçekten de mesela onlardan satın alacaklar ve yüksek sayıda üretici olsun istiyorlar ya da onlara belli bir servisi, hizmeti vermek istiyorlar ama onları bulabilmek ve hızlı bir şekilde ayırt edebilmek istiyorlar. Onlara yönelik olarak da çok avantajlı bir sistem haline geldi. Çünkü onlar diyorlar ki tamam biz desteklemek istiyoruz. People and Planet First olan organizasyonları gösterin bize. Listeden bulalım. Onlara o hizmetlere ücretsiz olarak sunalım. Ya da onlara yatırımlarımızı onlara doğrultalım. Ya da alım gücümüzü onlara doğru kullanalım. Ve buna etrafına ayrı bir ekosistem, bu destekleyici ekosistemi oluşmaya başladı. Yes. So this supporter badge, People and Planet First supporter badge is really to say, look, I'm a supporter. It doesn't say I'm a People and Planet First enterprise. You might be, likely are an extractive business maybe, but you've got a part of your business that wants to do social procurement, or you want to do some social investment. The supporter angle.
Yeah. How PR and marketing works, used in a different way maybe.
So they also have criteria that they have to meet. So they can't just say, they don't just get to copy it from the website and use it, right? They have to, that's also part of the process. So they have to show every year if they're going to, so for example, if they're going to do purchasing from our verified People and Planet First enterprises, every year, they have to demonstrate that they're doing that. So no greenwashing or social washing.
Yes. And maybe one question for Erinch. And I think most of the Turkish people also ask us that, okay, it's a huge, diversified community, global community, but people generally say that how we can identify, how is it different from B Corp movement or other things? Maybe you can also mention that.
Bir öncekine. Yeah, that's a really good question. I get that all the time as well, because the B Corp movement, for instance, is a very, diverse community that has very different kind of businesses. On the one hand,
including some of these.
Including some of these. So I'm about to give an example. For instance, I'm drinking coffee at the moment. We can talk about coffee. Nespresso is a B Corp. It's a part of Nestle. So is Cafe Direct, a business I know very well, led by someone from the fair trade movement called John Steele. Now, Cafe Direct is owned by the farmers. All its profits are used to support the farmers or to support climate action. Nespresso is trying to improve some of its impacts, but it's a part of Nestle. It is the highest margin business within Nestle. And every year it gives 100% of its profits to its shareholders, and it's trying to maximize its profits. Now, Nestle and Cafe Direct are very different kind of businesses. Cafe Direct is a fair trade enterprise. It's a social enterprise. It's a part of the social solidarity economy. It meets tick, tick, tick, tick. It's also a B Corp as well. So it uses the B Corp tool. That's great. Nespresso is not a social enterprise. It's not a cooperative or a fair trade enterprise, but it's trying to be a more responsible business. That's great too. They both use the B Corp badge. What this allows Cafe Direct to do, alongside other ways it might already be doing this, is to say, look, we also have something special in the way we're set up. We are a people and planet first enterprise. We also meet the B Corp criteria, but we're plus, plus, plus. So I think this is why it also, there's a danger, and I'm not saying this with my Social Enterprise World Forum hat on. I'm saying this very much with my day job at Doughnut Economics. But there is a danger that we draw a false equivalence within the B Corp movement where people say, oh, you're a B Corp, they're all the same. No, there's very, very different. There are some very mainstream companies and there are some very pioneering social economy enterprises as well. And this is an opportunity for those to distinguish because these are different kinds of B Corps.
Yeah, that's right.
And the same can be said for lots of other certifications, by the way. So I think there's a need for a language that allows us to say there's a different enterprise design here. The company is designed in its relationship with finance in a way to liberate it to a significant extent from the pressure to profit maximize and extract for finance. And these are not, more questions arise, but these really do help draw an important distinction.
Perfect. And there are some enterprises who are also take the B Corp badge and People and Planet First badge at the same time.
That's right.
Absolutely.
And
sorry.
Perfect.
I'll say the way that we talk about it with them is the B Corp badge is about their policies and practices. It's a really detailed thing about how they are with workers and suppliers and all of that. It's policies and practices. People and Planet First is about business model or enterprise design, as Erinch said it, right? So that's the distinction. One is just about your operations and things like that. The other is this baked into your DNA, right? It's about your business model.
Perfect. And there are some double badge partners all around the world, such as World Fair Trade Organization is also have a partnership with People and Planet First verification. And you can check other double badge partners and partners from www.peopleandplanetfirst.org. And I think we have limited time and we actually take 2 or 3 questions. And then we will finish the session with our call to actions.
Yeah.
And if you have any questions.
Ben doçent Setep Altuğ çok somut bir problem konusunda işbirliği yapılabilir mi diye danışmak istiyorum. Şu an tarım konusu Türkiye'de çok büyük sorun. Karadeniz'de fındık günlük yemeye 3.000 lira, işçi bulunamıyor. Ege'de benzer şekilde. Şimdi Work and Travel sisteminin Türkiye içerisinde üniversiteli gençlere iş yaratmak ve hayata bakışlarını da değiştirmek amacıyla, yani sadece lay lay lom yazın yaz kampları değil, bayağı çalışarak, emek vererek para kazanma anlamında ve sonra da o çalıştıkları bölgedeki fabrikaları gezerek veya kültür merkezlerini gezerek ne yapılabilir, birlikte nasıl çalışılır, bütün bunun üzerine bir proje konusunda nasıl işbirliği yapılabilir diye danışmak istiyorum. Çünkü şu anda daha dün aldığımız bir haber, 30 dönüm erik kilosu 2 liradan satamıyorlar, ağaçlarda bırakmaya karar verdiler. İstanbul'da eriğin kilosu 50 lira ile 100 lira arası. Yani bu ülkenin çok ciddi bir sorunu ve gerçeği. Yıl boyu inanılmaz paralar harcadılar. Emek verdiler. Sonuç sıfıra sıfır. Bile değil, eksi.
It's about agricultural production and what we could be doing, particularly in hazelnuts and certain fruit production, to alleviate the livelihoods challenges really in Turkey. I mean, you might want to add something extra. So I'll respond in English, but I mean overall we.
It's okay. I'm just doing it in Turkish.
Okay. Yani detaylı olarak isterseniz şeyden bu session'dan sonra bir konuşalım daha detaylı olarak ama bu People and Planet First'ı olarak düşünürsek yani o tedarik zincirinin içinde bu tür işletmeleri çoğaltmamız gerekiyor. Yani onun içinde kar çıkartma amacıyla işleyen organizasyonlar, işletmeler değer bırakmıyor. Yani tarım sektöründe yeterince değer bırakmıyor, yeterince yatırım yaratmıyor ve bunu değiştirmek için farklı çeşitli sosyal işletmeler gerekecek ve bunları yani esas yani yanıt olarak bunların altını çizmek istiyorum.
Ya örneğin iş entegrasyonu, sosyal girişimleri gibi farklı böyle sosyal girişim modelleri var ama ben de şey önereceğim. Belki çıkışta hani tarım, kooperatif ne tür örnekler var ve ne yapılabilir? Sizden de biraz daha bilgi alabilirsek belki yönlendirme yapabiliriz.
Maybe I was late, so I might have missed. Could you please talk a little bit about the verification process?
The process, that's a great.
Steps, right?
Yes, verification steps.
Do you want me to do that?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Okay. So Merve just mentioned there is something called a double badge. So if you already have a certification that meets these standards or goes above those standards, you get it for free, and you there's no extra process, there's no extra fee. But for most businesses, most enterprises, there are 3 steps. So the first step is there's an online form on Good Market, and it's free, and it's available in Turkish now. Yeah. And so that usually takes people about 30 minutes to submit. And no matter what happens, even if you're not ready for the rest, if that's approved, you have a profile on the site, you can do other things on the site. So that's the first step. The second step is there is a verification fee, and it's been kept as low as possible, just trying to make things self-sustaining. And it's, I think for the first time, it's $85. And then there's a check every year, and that's $70. Right? So that's the second step, is there's a payment. I think here maybe it's easy to make a payment online. Some countries it's very difficult. So we figured out systems for those countries, like in Ethiopia, they have some challenges with. So second step is the payment. And then the third step is then you can access the People and Planet First form, same place, it's in your account page. And there's 5 questions. And you upload your finance documents and your governing documents to support your answers to the questions. And then it gets reviewed, and that's the process. So in some cases, we're seeing enterprises, they sit down and they do the whole thing just at one time. And some people, they want to take a little longer.
I think Ekin.
I love People and Planet First, and I talk about this with Merve, but generally I'm scared about verification, certification, measurement, this kind of thing, especially in Turkey. It's about 2 reasons. Firstly, I'm scared of the measurement obsession because it's similar to capitalist thinking, I feel sometimes, because measurement is very dangerous for humanity, I think. And generally in Turkey, certification is a big greenwashing way. For example, sustainability organizations give a certificate, a green check certification for fossil fuel companies in Turkey, and a lot of things collapses, and it's very terrible. And B Corp, I think it's very dangerous because of the social entrepreneurship ecosystem, and why we need a real verification in the basically. And what is your audit mechanism, general meaning? Yes, I can declare something, but what's your audit mechanism? I'm very curious about this.
I'll jump in on the first part. Maybe you can
Yeah,
on the second part. So as you know, I agree that over focus on particularly quantification of impact metrics has been a real distraction and can also very much undermine. Here, what we've tried to do, even that we said it's point system, but it's qualitative assessments. These are not like how many workers or how many farmers or it's not measurement related. This is an assessment of these 5 standards through the documents that they have to try to find a way to distinguish whether they have these elements created or not in the design of the company.
Yeah, and I just want to say that point system, that's not public. That's for you to know, okay, this is where I am now, maybe next year I improve. The only thing that's public is yes, no, you meet these 5 standards or you don't meet those standards, right? The points is for us to internally improve. The piece, though, that I am so happy you brought this up, this is something I feel very strongly about. The piece that I'm excited about is the way the Good Market software, this digital commons that belongs to all of us, is designed, is it has a crowd-sourced monitoring system, right? So that means if you see something on there and you're like, no, I know this business, this is not true, you can flag them, and that starts a review process, right? And so because that already exists, it also gets used for people in Planet First, right? Yeah.
So the community is also audit and
It
monitor
belongs
as well.
to the community. Yeah, it belongs to the community. You know better than anyone else what is the situation here. So you need to have space to be able to look at that and say, actually, no, I have a question. Right. Yep.
Can I also just underline the importance of just how global this is? Because, I mean, we're talking about it, we've only got the words up, but if you saw the map of the countries, there's dozens of countries where this has been sort of organically co-created through all these different networks.
It belongs to us.
It belongs to us, whether it's in Sri Lanka, whether it's, the social enterprise community in Ethiopia or Kenya or, across India and Latin America, across Europe. It's really been all these national level networks that have come through, and nearly all of them have been incredibly supportive of this co-creation process.
It's been fun. It's been really fun.
I don't think we have time to ask questions, but I feel like our panelists would be eager to answer your questions afterwards. If
Okay.
That's okay. For
Okay.
you. Everyone, thank you for being with us.
We're out of time.
Maybe last call to actions. And Türkçe söyleyebilirim bunu. Eğer ilgilendiyseniz ve detaylara bakmak isterseniz bir sonraki slaytta web sitesinden bakabilirsiniz. And the English is the website is English now.
So this is a decentralized, and there's no president and no governing body, and so it's a very global movement, and that's.
It's distributed. It is a distributed global movement. It's a network of networks.
And you saw that there is supporter option. So if you want to talk about it, please write us. And for social enterprises, if you need any help for steps and for the translation need, please write on me directly. And thank you so much for your time.
Thanks.
We'll be here in 10 minutes to talk about the effect of social enterprises for economic transformation with Ezgi, Amanda.
No, I'm going to give a talk over there, and then I'll come back.
Okay.
Fair trade is next.
Okay.
Here, fair trade is next.
Then we have fair trade next.
Yeah. I'll be back here after that.